Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer, food maker, or artisan selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast.
I'm Kat Fields-White.
And I'm Bridget Myers. We're longtime farmers market managers, educators, and consultants. Get ready to catch up on all things farmers market pros with us. During this season of Tent Talk, we're bringing you episodes about growing where you're planted, maximizing the success and impact of your market or market business by focusing on your own resources and the power of your community.
Today's episode of Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is supported by Loco Canopies, creating beautifully branded custom canopies, freestanding feather flags, and table covers to make vendors and information booths stand out at farmers markets. From starter tents to fully logoed setups, Loco Canopies will make you look good. For more information on how to increase your visibility, click the Loco Canopies logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
All right, welcome back to Tent Talk, everyone. We are talking in this newest season about growing where we're planted. That means making use of the resources that we have now and the coalitions that we can foster and develop to make our markets and businesses thrive and grow. Today, we're going to chat about the importance of networking with your peers, local conferences coming up, and all the ways we'll be helping build connections at this year's intense National Farmers Market Conference.
We cannot wait to see everyone in San Diego.
I really need to see everybody.
I do too. I
really need a hug. Gotta be honest.
I think so too. Are we using wristbands for huggable and not huggable this year?
Let's something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm standing there with my arms open, it's because I want to hug. How about that?
Is she waving at me? Is she directing me? No, just needs a hug.
Just needs a big old hug. Don't make it weird, but
right.
Just need a little comfort in these times.
We do. It's all very confusing, but at least if we're confused together, it seems like that makes it better.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Little side note, I was just searching for something online. I don't even think it was like Tent Talk related, but it popped up an old episode of Tent Talk from COVID times. It was literally like April 2020. And so I think you and Justine and I were all recording from each of our houses on Zoom. But we were chatting about just like that loss of connection, you know, and how like not hugging people was such a like loss in those times, and just seeing people at the market was helping us like feel connected and things like that. So anyways, it just got me thinking about not like obviously we're not in a pandemic right now, but just kind of strange things happening in the world and markets shifting and, you know, ebbing and flowing. It's going to be so nice to just see people in person or even like feel connected online. Like I know our online community, it's not the same as being at the conference itself, but just really like absorbing the same content and feeling all like we're part of something together, I think is so important right now. And I'm really looking forward to it.
I mean, there is a pandemic of craziness going on, right?
There sure is.
Yes.
Oh, it'll be nice. No, and also it just brings together, you know, people from all sorts of backgrounds and theories and what's going on in your neck of the country and world. And so it's not like we're all in agreement about everything, but I think just being together in this like community of farmers markets will help us recognize that we all have something in common and there's common ground and there's common community.
I think that's super important. I mean, this is one of those things where you tell a story and it says, this is not a story about that. It's a,
yeah,
it's an allegory. And yeah, that's the thing is that even though our community, especially when you take farmers and everybody into account, is not necessarily all on the same wavelength politically, but we're all on the same wavelength in terms of feeding people and bringing people together and all those. So I'm reading a book now, and I gave it to your son actually for Christmas as well, that says, the title is I Never Thought of It That Way.
Yep.
And I think it's really important to hear what other people think about the various issues of the day and about ways that we can make a difference in our own little sphere.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, my teenage son is getting into politics himself and just recognizing what's going on in the world and having good conversations at school with his friends, with his family. So, I mean, it's just good for us to all kind of recognize that we do have common ground and we're all like our humanity brings us together. And especially with farmers markets, feeding people and supporting ourselves is what brings us together. It'll just be nice to be in that community.
Yes. So we all want to be back together. So we're going to talk a little bit about Intense. We're also going to mention some regional conferences coming up that you should attend if they're in your area of the world. Whether or not you're coming to Intense be sure to gather where you can.
Yep, exactly.
So, you know how often we bug you about putting your location, days, and times on your website and social media profiles. Let's do that ourselves. Let's talk about the basics of the Intense Conference. So, it's March 1st through 4th. The first is Sunday, and if you can't make it on that day because you've got a big market and you can't travel until after your market wraps up at 2, that's fine. What happens on Sunday is some regional meetups that have asked to be slid into empty rooms while we're setting up, early registration and picking up swag. You can do that on Monday morning if you don't get there on Sunday. And then we usually do a meetup, just walk across the street to a watering hole and eating place and get together on Sunday afternoons. Sort of if you're in town, the speakers usually show up there to say hi. And that's what we do on Sunday. So Sunday's not critical, but it does make kind of easing into the week easier. There actually are a lot of folks that show up on Saturday because they want to go to the big weekend markets in San Diego as long as they're making that trip.
Yeah, if you're in San Diego on Saturday, be sure to come to my market in Little Italy, the Little Italy Mercado. It's in downtown San Diego. It's open 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we always put a big sign out by our info booth kind of welcoming conference attendees. And it's nice for my staff to get to meet folks. And like my farmers and vendors are always so excited. They're like, oh, I met some people that are coming to the conference. So if you can come for the weekend, like, please come see me at my market. But there's also a ton of markets all weekend long in San Diego. And if you need direction of where to go or what to see, you can go to the Farm Bureau website. They have a list. But also you can feel free to reach out and we'll point you in different directions.
Well, and we send a little list to our attendees. Yeah. Once you're registered, you'll get a little list of things to see if you arrive a day or two early or stay a day or two after. Yeah. But so we're saying March 1st through 4th to include Sunday, but the sessions will be the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Mm-hmm. We're in San Diego, and we're more specifically in the Pacific Beach neighborhood of San Diego, Mission Beach and Ocean Beach below, Bird Rock,
yeah, Torrey Pines.
Torrey Pines above.
Yeah. San Diego is very large. I think people don't realize that. They're like, oh, I'll just stay in Oceanside and come down to the conference. That's too far. That's like far. 45 minutes and traffic's a nightmare. So make sure you're looking at the neighborhoods, stay in PB, or if you want to stay a little east,
Ideally, though, you'll stay at the Catamaran Resort. Yes, because that's where all the meetings are. That's where the bulk of our attendees stay. And that gives you a chance to run into somebody in between sessions or after sessions wrap up in the evening, kind of wander in, sit in the lounge at the resort, go look at the bird show on the lunch hour.
They do have a parrot show. It's delightful.
Macaws and other tropical creatures.
The catamaran is so fun and lovely. I think people really get into it because it's like such a fun, just beachy vibe. So I'm glad we're there.
If you've been to the conference in past years, but you weren't there last year, we're not too far from the original location that we used for 8 years, but we're definitely more in the heart of Pacific Beach. So there's grocery stores and taco stands and coffee houses and things right, just within footsteps of the resort.
Which is one of the reasons that we switched, because our longtime location was beautiful. It was right by the harbor and it was so nice, but it was kind of a hike from any place where you could get food.
Any services
at all. So we brought some in, but anyway, yeah, the new location is kind of nicer. And also we stay on site at the Catamaran, so it's nice that we can be around, and I like hanging out, before and after sessions too.
Yeah,
so,
our team stays there. It's lovely.
Yep.
And then just a quick rundown on what happens each day. We just talked about Sunday, early registration, etc. Monday, 7 a.m., we open the resource lounge and there's breakfast there for you. So there's some of our resource partners are there. You can meet Chris from MarketWorks and Heath from Local Canopies and Martin from Square and the ladies from Project for Public Spaces. Anyway, there's a lot of folks in the resource lounge to visit with. There's also breakfast. You can start getting to know people. 8 a.m. sharp. Sessions start. Monday is the one day that even though we're in a hotel, they somehow let us get away with this. There is a lunch market. We actually have a teeny tiny farmers market set up in the parking lot at the hotel, so you can get lunch there and meet some actual San Diego area vendors and enjoy market food.
Yeah, the vendors from Cat's Market and from my market and other markets around. So they're always like really excited to come because they love to talk to a bunch of other market managers and market participants.
Yeah, our vendors get really inspired by that. It's fun.
They love it.
Back in sessions on Monday afternoon, and then Monday night we have a reception, same area in the hotel, goes from 5 to 7. And that's just a time to hang out, have a beverage, have some snacks, talk to one another. People love that reception. At around 7, we're usually going around and telling them, you don't have to go home or even back to your room, but you can't stay here.
So nobody go downstairs. No one wants to leave. Maybe we'll find another AV guy that wants to play the piano for us. That was lovely.
Fun. So good.
Yeah.
So Tuesday, kind of same setup. We start at 7 a.m. with breakfast in the resource lounge, light breakfast, a chance to talk to our partners. 8 a.m. sessions start. At noon, merch swap opens. So if you've brought in shopping bags or T-shirts or What other kind of fun things? We had tape measures last year with a market logo on them.
Aprons, hats, cool socks.
Oh, yes.
The Black Farmers Market had the coolest socks. I hope they bring those again.
They were the best.
Yeah.
So you can bring, and again, once you register, you'll get the kind of nitty gritty details on this, how many you can turn in and what kind of credits you get for donating to the merch swap. If you're not bringing anything, you actually can still pay for things in the merch swap, but the folks that bring things to contribute get a half hour of head start on buying in the merch swaps shop.
It's really fun, like high energy. Everyone gets excited about what to see. And it's also, I take a lot of pictures because I get ideas for merch to sell at my market too. So even if I don't walk away with something, I get to see what other folks are doing at their markets, and it gives me a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was that brought it, but we have definitely adapted the don't buy food from strangers thing on a couple of merch items that we printed.
That's true. That came from a sticker like years ago. Oh, what?
Yeah,
it's on my fridge.
I
stuck that sticker to my fridge. Yeah. So
yeah, that was great. I feel like Stacy DeStager might have been involved with that. Walnut Hills, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Mm-hmm. Cool. Anyway, so merch swap is tons of fun. People get real excited about that. You can take home goodies from other markets. Mm-hmm. Back in session on Tuesday afternoon. Then we walk to the Pacific Beach Market usually and hang out, get to see another local market. And then we head over to the Shore Club where we watch the sunset. Wednesday, similar. Do not think that this is a conference where you want to duck out early. We actually have sessions on Wednesday all the way from, actually, we might start at 8:30 this year on the Wednesday sessions. I feel like people are getting tired by Tuesday, especially ones coming from other time zones.
Unless they go out on Tuesday and have a good time with them.
Yeah, everybody has a good time at the Shore Club. And hopefully we'll have lovely weather on the Tuesday this year, and you'll end up following Chris Quinlan into the surf because we are right at the beach here.
Last year it was a little rainy on Tuesday, but we all trucked down to the market. The catamaran gave everyone umbrellas, and it was actually really fun. And there was vendors out there at the market in the rain, which was also really great and encouraging to see. So
yeah,
we'll make the most of it, but we are having a much drier season, I will say here. It hasn't been very rainy, so we're hoping for a nice dry conference week.
Yeah, good chance it'll be sunny and dry. Mm-hmm. Wednesday sessions do, as usual, go right up to 5 o'clock. There's such good content right up to the last moment of the conference. And then Wednesday we'll have a little closing reception from 5 to 7-ish. So if you're making your airplane reservations, keep that in mind that if you can, you want to stick around for that. One last chance to hug people if you're up for it and to trade contact information. We're really encouraging people to keep in touch for the next year since we're skipping 2027 for the San Diego conference. One of the things that we do every year at the conference, or we have done for several years, always under the direction of Cara May from the Napa Farmers Market, is speed dating. And that's something that we do early in the conference. We do it on Monday. So you get a chance to actually do a real quick hit of getting to know people and making some friends that will carry you through the conference.
We should clarify it's friendship dating, not like a love match situation. I mean, True. If you want to, that's fine on your own time. But yes, it's just, we call it speed dating just as a phrase, but it's like meeting people and getting to know them and like little bits of information so you can get to know folks better.
Yeah, and I think the goal, as Cara May has described it in past years, was to develop camp buddies. Yeah. So you find those people that you really connect with, and then you keep in touch with them the rest of the year. So this year, we're going to alter the format a little bit, and we're going to make it a little bit more regional, especially since we're taking a break in 2027 from our long-established location and format. One of our goals this year is to really strengthen the opportunities for our attendees to keep connecting. So you keep local meetups and coalitions going all year. So when we do that speed buddy, we'll not call it dating. When we do that speed buddy session, we're going to kind of split up. You'll have the option. If you want to, if you're from Maine and you want to join in the West Coast group, go for it. You don't have to meet people that are in your general area.
There's no bouncers that are going to bounce you out.
No. But you can.
Yeah.
So that's cool. We're talking about taking a break in 2027, and just briefly to cover why. I'm tired. That's one reason.
Cat needs a nap.
I need a nap. I need like a 1-year nap. So typically 4 to 6 weeks after this conference, we would start planning the next conference, and we do it all year. I sometimes wonder to myself why that is, because somehow we pull off huge events once a week. Why does it take me a year to plan the conference? I don't know. But anyway, it does.
Something to ponder when we're taking a break.
That's right. Something we'll think through. So we are going to take a little break. We're going to refresh our brand, update our website that I've been trying to do for the last 3 years, but I'm too busy with conference planning. Mm-hmm. I'm actually writing a book, and I'm going to see if I can knock it out if I have a little break here from the month-to-month conference planning schedule.
As one of your family members, just so everyone knows, the entire family is going to gang up on Kat and make her write this book. Because
lock me in my little office.
Yes, we're just going to lock you up in a tower, and we'll just like put a little pulley up to bring you some food, hot coffee. You'll be fine.
I'm looking forward to that, actually.
Okay.
And then some of the other things we're going to be doing during that quote unquote break is we're expanding and strengthening our resource partner program and offerings. We're going to try and set up a really strong source of where you can buy various equipment and materials and things at some better rates because we're going to approach people as a group of farmers market pros.
Mhm.
And then what else might be going on during that time is we're going to really encourage regional and new audiences by partnering with related groups and maybe showing up at their conference with a track of intense sorts of content and sponsors.
Yep.
Yeah. So other groups that we'll be working with. We're going to make sure that we connect a lot with state association members and Farmers Market Coalition and that group. They'll be at the conference this year. Since we're not planning a 2027 conference, we're going to be supporting existing state associations and creating resources that'll help you form a state association if you don't have one, or at least hyper-regional groups, city manager meetups. We're going to do an attendee directory that you can opt into so that if you met people at the conference, you want to connect with them later. This has come in on comment cards sometimes after the conference. Oh, I wish I could find the people that I met at the conference. Yeah, so that's some of the things that we're going to do. And I'm planning to attend more regional conferences in 2027 while I'm not in San Diego inventorying swag. The conference coming up.
All the time you'll have.
Yeah, sounds like that, but somehow, nature fills a vacuum.
It's true. But it'll be nice just to take a little breather and yes, to get out there. I think not me so much anymore, although I do want to start kind of popping out to a few little conferences, but you do such a great job of getting around and talking to other people or talking at conferences. And I think that's important too, because not everyone can come to San Diego. So you get to touch base with folks that don't ever get to come to the conference in person or strengthen those relationships with folks who have been coming to the conference for a long time. And I think that just kind of breeds better ideas and better connection and everything. So I think we're taking a break for good reason. And it's not just to take a nap, but it's to kind of explore these other things that we know we can do well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm really looking forward to that. Usually, so many of the regional conferences are at this same time of year for good reason. It's why ours is at this time of year because people with seasonal markets are generally looking for inspiration right before their season starts. That's when they have time to travel and attend conferences before they're in the heat of applications and maps and grand reopenings if you're a seasonal market. In addition to intense, a lot of the regional conferences are in January and February, and I haven't been able to get out there for a while, except to the fall conferences. So speaking of regional info, we really want to see you at the Intense conference. But in addition to that, or if you can't make it to San Diego this year and you're going to sign up and tune in virtually, there's some great regional meetings coming up. And when you talk about not you so much going to conferences, you really are giving a big push at the California Small Farm Conference this year, you and the group that you're working with at the California Alliance of Farmers Markets. And I think that's really important. I actually started the Intense conference after going to small farm conferences for several years and finding that maybe there was a roundtable session for farmers market managers, or there'd be one session about farmers markets, usually about doing social media. I was usually presenting it, so I wasn't learning anything else about farmers markets. And so that's why we started a conference just for market managers and for market vendors that really address their needs. Well, it's kind of come full circle, and I love seeing that you're going to be at the California Small Farm Conference this year.
Yes, last year, the California Alliance of Farmers Markets has for many years done a market manager kind of training track at the Small Farm Conference. So market managers come. I know there's folks in there that are not market managers and just curious about market management, but they do kind of a 101 like broad course about managing markets and some of the California policies that we all have to cover as market managers here. So that's really great. And I kind of sat on a round table last year for that. But this year, I have just been kind of thinking about doing a little bit more meaningful, direct work at these conferences. So the Small Farm Conference is mostly farmers, and they get a really good turnout. They are really well organized. It's a great conference. They talk about irrigation systems and seeds and soil and all sorts of farmer stuff I don't even know. I did sit in some sessions last year just because I had already had a pass to listen, and it was fascinating, just because I'm not a farmer, but really relevant things for farmers in California, small farms. And so I thought, what can I as a market manager really bring farmers at this conference as opposed to trying to get market managers to sign up at this conference? And I thought, and I talked to some of my farmers who do a really great job and have it really dialed in at my markets and thought, hey, would a couple of you sit on a panel with me? And they did a request for a proposal. And so I submitted an idea. Could me and a couple of my farmers who do markets sit on a panel and talk about how to maximize sales at farmers markets? So the content is for farmers. I'm going to be speaking to farmers from a farmers market manager point of view, of course, about what I think makes a successful farmer at a market. Like, what are some things you can do? And then also, I have a couple farmers from farms at my markets that are going to be there as well and talk about, all the things that they can do to maximize sales, things that they have tried and that have worked or not worked. Also talk about the challenges. I want to be real that, farmers setting up at farmers markets is not easy for them. It's not simple. They have a lot of things that they have to consider. So I want the farmers to talk that out and talk about how they've kind of overcome those challenges. And I think that'll just be the biggest benefit to these farmers. And in turn, the biggest benefit to farmers markets. Because if we don't have farmers trained properly to be successful at farmers markets and stay at farmers markets doing direct sales, farmers markets are going to not exist. So I think that's just kind of, if you are in a position to do that at a regional conference in your area, it can be really vitally important. And I'm really excited about this session. I'm going to kind of push it out to all my farmers market manager friends in California. And people are already asking, is it going to be recorded? Can we send it to our farmers? So it's for folks that are in markets already and also farmers that are maybe on the fence about signing up at a farmer's market or not.
Yeah, and I think it's important for us to do that, to be talking to farmers, because I think, I think everybody across the country complains that we don't have enough producers. We've got a lot of bakers, but we don't always have enough farmers that are ready to come into the markets. And honestly, I think it's because many of them just don't realize what the financial benefit is of selling direct. I mean, they might if they just sat down and thought about, you keep the whole retail price, but that's not obvious unless we point it out to them. A lot of them don't actually know how farmers markets work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's nice to help. And I don't think, I feel like in my region, we don't do a good job of like approaching farmers and saying, hey, here are the numbers. They're getting approached by distributors. They're getting approached by folks that want to sell their things online.
Packing houses.
They're getting approached by people who want to do like singular pickups, which I think that all those things are great. Like diversifying options for farmers, I think is incredible, whatever helps support them. But I think explaining that you get to keep the whole retail dollar and this is the way that markets support farmers. Like, how can market managers support you better so you can be successful at the markets? And this can be a really vital revenue stream and it can keep your farm in business if you're at farmers markets.
Passion, meet profit. That's where we started. We felt like people were teaching farmers to grow, but not teaching them to sell.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that you're doing this. That actually could be a whole episode there where we were just going. We'll have to loop back around and do that later in the season. But
yeah, I'd love to talk about after the session, actually, because I'm curious what the farmer question. There's already a ton of people signed up for that session. I can see on the website. But I'm curious what I don't know what these farmers are going to ask. Like, I don't talk to a lot of farmers who aren't at markets about joining markets. So I'll definitely talk about it on an upcoming episode about what kind of their feedback is and what maybe they've tried and hasn't worked or what they're afraid of joining markets and kind of talk that out. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think that's really, really helpful. Now the California Small Farm Conference is virtual, right?
Yes.
So I think it goes from the 22nd to the 26th.
Yeah.
And then I think the way they've worked it is the whole thing's still virtual. They've been like that ever since COVID. It used to be in person. I had gone to those conferences in person. But then there's regional meetups. The one in San Diego County actually is at one of our farmers' farms.
Yeah.
And then, across the state, California's a big state. So there's regional meetups in various areas of the state where you can get together on that last day. I think. So that's good. So you do get some in-person.
Which is smart. And it's actually at Mike with JR Organics is going to be on the panel with me. And it's at the meetup's at his farm.
Oh, that's awesome.
They do such a great job. Andrew from Indian Summer Farm is going to be with me too. So
one of our favorite farmers.
Yeah, those are my farmers. But yeah, they do a good job of like meeting up regionally so that everyone can get together a little bit in person. But yes, my session is on Monday, February 23rd at 8 a.m.
Excellent. And it's virtual. So no matter where you are, you could tune into that.
You could tune in and the tickets are only like $25 or something. They make it really low barrier to entry.
You know what they do? And I've seen a lot of regional groups do this. Their tickets actually are like, it's almost a choose your own price thing. Like the full price is $200 and you can pay that, but it's a needs-based thing. It's pay what you can afford. The full price is $200. You don't have to submit anything that shows why you should get a discount. You just plug in what you can afford to pay. So you can go really inexpensively. I paid the full price, but I think if I was just tuning in for one session, I might say, okay, well, that's worth $25 or $45 to me. And they're fine with that.
Yeah, it's great. And they give a stipend to farmers that are speaking and things like that too. So it's a really great group.
Yep.
I'm excited about that.
There's a lot of local associations, state groups, and things that are still doing their whole conference online. We think one of the beauties of Intense to get the full experience is coming in person, but we also offer a hybrid option so that you can watch the conference from wherever you are. You don't get the whole thing, obviously. You're not going to be in those hive mind sessions or at the shore club to watch the sunset. And we only live feed from the main stage, although we do record some of the farmer and vendor track. But
it's still a great experience. And
it
really,
is.
if you really can't make it, being able to see those sessions, I think is like definitely worth it and worth the time to put into it because you still get all that content that's on the main stage.
Yeah. So if you can't work out coming to San Diego this year, by all means, sign up for Intense online. But there are some state associations and things that are doing conferences right now where you can see your local people in person. Washington State Farmers Market Association has their conference on the beautiful Kitsap Peninsula this year. They move around the state of Washington. They're February 20th to 21st. I have spoken at that conference in the past, and maybe I will again now that we're taking a little break from Intense in 2027. But that's a really good conference. They do a really good job. The Illinois Farmers Market Association does a farmers market track, kind of similar to what you're doing at the Everything Local Agriculture Conference. And that's this coming weekend, January 28th through 30th. The Maine Farmers Market Conference is February 2nd in Augusta, Maine. That's a one-day in-person meetup. And the North Carolina Farmers Market Network is doing something a little different. They're doing one-day regional mini conferences. So it's a one-day conference, but it's 5 one-day conferences in various parts of the state. And that actually is tomorrow, January 27th. So in 4 regions, actually, I think they're West North Carolina region is meeting in Asheville on February 28th, but the rest of them, other parts of North Carolina, are meeting tomorrow. So tune in, go online and check the North Carolina Farmers Market Network. And if you're in that area, pick that one up. And then right after Intense, the British Columbia Association of Farmers Markets in Canada, their conference is March 6th through 8th. I know that Chris Quinlan will be leaving Intense and hustling back up the coast to British Columbia to be at that conference. That's another one I've spoken at, actually, and they do a really nice conference for their region. So back to Intense. It's longer than regional conferences. It's entirely focused on farmers markets, and it has a strong track for farmers and vendors. That was another reason that we started the Intense conference, and all of, many of the things that we do in Intense, including this podcast and our Farmers Market Forum newsletters and our online community, is that nobody seems to be gathering non-farm farmers market vendors. So the agriculture conferences are good for farmers, although, as we discussed, I think they're a little weak on teaching farmers to sell. They're more designed to teach farmers to farm. But nobody was talking to vendors. So the granola makers and jam makers and hot sauce folks and bakers and bakers and bakers, nobody was really talking to them. So we try to make it a point in all of our offerings to really include that group. I mean, in addition, we need farmers to be farmers markets, but honestly, nowadays to compete with grocery stores and things, we need all the grocery items. And so it's important that we talk to those vendors as well.
Yeah, we used to take the Sunday before the conference, and you and I would teach a full Vendor 101 course on that Sunday. So that was really great to just get vendors in and get them in seats. And it was a nice way to kick off the conference and just kind of talking to vendors and explaining why it's so important that they participate in farmers markets and how they can do it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they are folding into the conference now. And it was so great to have those sessions last year. The vendors had such a good time. I saw all sorts of different vendors. A good handful of vendors from my markets came, and they had a really good experience and learned a lot. So it's just nice to get them all together.
Yeah, absolutely. Farmers and vendors are the one group that can buy a ticket for just the Monday sessions. They have their own track that's completely focused on farmers and vendors selling at markets and how to determine your profit margin and what makes an effective display. And Sarah Marshall from Portland, Oregon comes down. She's our MC for that track and does a really wonderful job. So they can come Monday. We do have general sessions Tuesday and Wednesday that are in many ways applicable to farmers and vendors. So they're certainly welcome to buy a ticket for the 3-day conference and stay. But we find too that farmers and vendors oftentimes just don't have big enough organizations where they can take 3 days off. So we don't see as many of them for that. Mm-hmm. But Monday, just to cover a little bit about the sessions coming up at Intense, the Monday will be kicking things off with ways we can all influence the future of farmers markets, moving into leadership development and conflict resolution. Heads up, Monday afternoon, you're going to hear a lot of Southern accents because the South has something to say. And we got a lot of amazing proposals from Georgia grown folks, from a woman that's worked with the Pepper Place Market in Birmingham. It just happens that afternoon, we're going to hear a lot of y'alls.
I love it. I love it so much.
Love a Southern accent. Mm-hmm. So we'll like that. And their content is amazing. Tuesday, as usual, We're going to do marketing in the morning. We're going to talk about our unique selling proposition, USP, as they say in marketing world, with Mike Lee, who's really well known, great writer on Substack. If you're looking for Substack things to read, he's got a book out. He talks about the future of food, and he's going to be talking about how we can position ourselves to really get people to the markets. Sometimes we think people will come shop at markets to support farmers and to boost local economies, and they will. But really, how to get them to markets is to tell them how much better the food tastes.
I just had this conversation with my social media manager for my markets. We were talking about pitches and what I want her to focus on. And we were doing this we are going to, do a kind of a series of like why it's important, why the money goes and stays in your community when you spend it at the farmers markets. And then we're like, we should just tell people how much better the food tastes, because that's really what it's about. Like you can just, and if, you're buying a lot, you're buying a little. If you just buy a little bit of good tasting food, like that increases the quality of your life. Yeah.
It's like those slight indulgences. Even when the economy's down, you can buy little things that bring you intense pleasure. And that's a whole theory of this is how people take care of themselves through times that are a little bit tougher. And we need to remember that. We offer something that nobody else offers in terms of really fresh, unique food.
Cannot be replicated.
Yep.
And we need to remind folks. Yep. I love it. Can't wait for his session.
So we'll be talking about that. We'll do some nuts and bolts things. I think we've got a group that's going to show us A to Z how you make a reel. I'm going to be taking notes. I still don't get it.
I hire all that out. It's fine.
Right. And then we're going to do some more nuts and bolts on Tuesday with operations, applications, how to nurture your vendors, how to promote their businesses and increase their sales, which keeps them around. That, of course, retains vendors, how to attract farmers. Lots of breakout sessions on the Tuesday afternoon. Our Big Ideas session last year was hugely popular, but it was one gigantic group. This year, we're going to break into 4 groups that are focusing on different topics, but really just let people brainstorm and throw out anything they've done, anything they've thought of. And then we're going to bring them back to the whole group on the main stage and kind of report back from each of those groups on what brilliant ideas come up when you get a bunch of farmers market folks sitting together.
I love it. I can't wait.
Wednesday, David Sachs is going to be with us. He wrote The Revenge of Analog, Tastemakers, Soul of an Entrepreneur. He's been in the food system world for a long time, especially on the entrepreneurial level, and also writes really convincingly about the importance of analog to us all, that high-tech kind of conundrum, and how we make sure that we stick with it. We're going to expand from there into who's winning between analog and AI and whether a truce is possible between those two things. And then we're going to talk big challenges. So somebody suggested to us in their proposal, what if we took on climate change, zero waste operations, where DEI initiatives fit in a confrontational time? If we took those on with the passion that we approached getting through COVID, what would happen? And I thought that was a really interesting question. So we've got sessions on that. And we'll also be talking about balancing budgets, increasing net income to our participants, and also creating fair compensation for management teams.
I can't wait to go to this conference.
Right?
Sounds amazing.
So exciting.
Yep.
Counting down the days. It is only 5 weeks till the Intense Conference starts.
We know what's great about that. You and I work great with a deadline.
We do work well with a deadline.
We work best with a deadline. I know we plan all year long, but really we're going to get so much done in the next 5 weeks.
Yes, we are.
So excited for us.
What we should do now, just like when we're dealing with our customers, is you can talk and talk and talk about what you do, but then you also have to ask for the order. So we're going to do that right now. There is incredible value at the Intense Conference in terms of content and especially in terms of connections that you just can't get many other places. So this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about. Should we ask you to come to the conference because conference registrations actually support conference overhead? They also support producing Intense all year long. That's, a lot of free content. They support our online community. Again, free content. So subscriptions to Farmers Market Forum and registration fees for Intense is what makes us able to do all those things. And so that's important. And we want you to know that, and that it's really important to us that you register and come to the conference or register virtually. That's what we're entirely self-funded. We didn't get grants even when they were giving away grants.
And now we really missed the boat on that. So someone needs to pay us. But you know us. And I mean, if you listen to Tent Talk, hopefully you feel like connected to us. And this is how we make our living. We don't have a corporation. Like, we are the bosses, and those monies that you pay for tickets and for forums and things like that, that goes to pay for us so that we can make a living. So,
and still keep doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is a way to support us financially, but it's a way to do that while you also reap the benefits of learning and networking. So just like talking about, is it important to come to farmers markets to support farmers and to support your local community? Yes, it is. Do you really want to come because the food tastes good? Yes, you do. Do you really want to come to Intense because what you get there is just not available in any other setting? Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. Come for the quality of life items like networking and feeling supported and feeling a part of something. We do have good food at our market, and we do have good food in the Pacific Beach neighborhood. And, if you feel like it, you can hug people. And it's just something that you can't get anywhere else, or is just a really high quality of an experience there for you.
And if you need to sell your board on this, I think there's a tremendous return on investment. I have talked to people over and over year after year that come back and say, oh, I learned to do this. Now I know how to get sponsors. Now I know how to adjust my fees for vendors so that it makes sense in terms of our budget. There is an actual return on investment from what you'll learn at the Intense conference.
Yep. And while we love a good webinar, farmers markets are built on face-to-face interaction and human relationships. We started the Intense conference because our jobs are weird, as we always say. Our skill sets are many, and almost no one but other market managers understand what we do. Ever-increasing levels of regulation and costs mean we really need to focus on creative solutions and grow as professionals in this industry. The pace of learning and finding solutions multiplies when we are face-to-face, and we hope that you will join us.
Thanks for listening to Tent Talk today, and big thanks to Loco Canopies for helping farmers market vendors and operators attract all the right kinds of attention with custom canopies, freestanding flags, and branded table covers, and for supporting Tent Talk, the farmers market podcast. Meet Heath and chat about all your on-site branding needs at the Intense conference, or order your tents and accessories now by clicking the Loco Canopies logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
Thanks for listening to Tent Talk today. Please leave us a review on your podcast app or wherever you listen to Tent Talk. Let us and others know how you're enjoying the podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Tent Talk. Connect with fellow farmers market folks in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community, and follow us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros. Find online education and other resources at farmersmarketpros.com. Tent Talk is brought to you by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Tent Talk is hosted by Kat Fields White and Bridget Myers and produced by Leandra Hayes, with original music by David Mead. Tune in for another great episode.